Good morning. Yesterday was a very good day for me, and I hope it was as good a day for all of y'all as well. I no longer have the scourge of being unemployed on my shoulders. The channel is finally monetized. We're going to have emojis and all that stuff coming in hopefully sometime over the weekend. But I'm just so freaking happy to have, that done and to be back to working. It is just, I feel 1,000 pounds lighter. And look at that. KC Cheeto comes in with a 10 gifted memberships. We don't have emojis over here yet, but if there's I imagine there is some sort of, what do we call it? Gavel in the emojis. If there is one, let's see some gavels. Karen, thank you so much. Hopefully, as we do a little bit of budgeting, maybe MegaCon can still be saved. Maybe I can still get down there. But I'll let all of y'all know that probably around the middle of or end of February is when I'll really know. 1 second. Awesome. I tell you, just to kind of give an idea of where my head was in all of this. So my lease ends at the end of March, and the idea was I was going to spend February hunting for a house, March moving into the house, and it wouldn't be an issue. But you have to give 60 days notice, which is in a week. So I was getting close to not even knowing what I was going to do. Like seriously, I'm speechless. I really am. I went live. What's today? Is today Thursday? Yes, today's Thursday. So I went live on Tuesday after the interview to kind of try to force, oh my God, guys. Lily for 20 says congratulations. Thank you so much. And Wasp for 100, who I'm still waiting to meet. She even lives near me, and I haven't met her yet. With just a celebratory emoji. I am moved beyond limits. It absolutely is the right time to buy a house. 100%. Anyone telling you not to buy a house right now doesn't know what they're talking about. I promise you. I'll explain later, Jason. Let me write that down. All right. So I went live Tuesday I think I was playing a little bit of Red Dead. I think we went live to do a Legally Speaking. I think it was near the end of Daily. And I did that because I was like, last Friday I was live and she texted me about the interview. So, maybe I'll force the hand of fate. Did happen. No big deal. So yesterday, I sent the partner that I interviewed with a email just thanking him, saying, I had a lot It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I love this prospect. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me back or give me a call here. And about 40 minutes later, the business manager that I'd been texting called me and was like, "Hey, so I hear the interview went well. And I just want to, I just kind of want to know what are you looking to get out of this?" And I was like, "Oh, like salary wise, I just want to get what I was making at the old firm. I probably could have asked for a little bit more. Maybe next time I will, but I just wanted to get a little bit." And she was like, "I think we can do that. Let me call you back." Called me back. It was like, "When can you start?" And I said, "I'll start Friday." And she said, "Oh, let's start Monday." So I've got 4 days now where I'm just going to relax. We're going to do this. We're going to have one more morning stream. We're going to do a morning stream tomorrow. I'm actually going to text Jay and I'm going to say, "Hey, if you're Welcome to the Rebellion," because we all know Welcome to the Rebellion can be up and down, left and right about whatever is going on. If Welcome to the Rebellion involves legal stuff, let's say a bunch of crazy stuff happens in Minnesota tonight, why don't you come on for the first 20, 30 minutes before daily and we'll talk about it. And then, you'll head off. We'll see. I'll shoot him that text. But we're going to have one more legally speaking in the morning. You're not streaming tomorrow? Okay. And then, video games throughout the day. So the King's Court is going to return to a video primary channel. I'm going to try to do 3 videos a week, with 1 or 2 live streams a week. So we're going to keep legally speaking on Thursday. And I might do a legally speaking on Tuesday. I hate to go up again, or maybe, I don't know. I don't know when really. I hate to go up against Tuesday night's main event or Monday night hangover. We'll figure it out. But that's the plan. Spider Unlimited just became a member. He and, oh my God, Donna and Beast are going to have an awesome live show when they decide to finally start doing it. Marianne, thank you so much. WAP says, "Keep kicking A55 and take down names, buddy." I'm going to kick butt at this new place. I am so freaking excited. So I'm going to be handling a whole lot more closings than I was handling. I'm going to be doing, let's see. We're doing the same kind of stuff that I was doing at my old job with title and things like that. So the only thing that's really different from my old job is just the processes. So this is going to be like, I don't think I'm not worried or scared at all. I'm excited for this opportunity. It's also a better firm. There's probably some people that would disagree with me in that world, but I think it's a better firm. So I am just over the freaking moon excited. And y'all have made it so much easier. And I'll tell y'all, the prayers that y'all have been saying for me have been probably one of the most humbling experiences. These last 20 days have been the most humbling experience of my life. Well, of my adult life, I'll say. It has been so stressful. As anyone that's lost a job knows, anyone that's got fired, whether it was your fault or not, that it's a stressful time, especially if you've got bills piled up, stuff like that. So just to know that there's a bunch of y'all out there that are praying for me and want me to do well is, you couldn't ask for more than that. Let's get into the show. Okay, I want to hit what I told Jason about real quick. He asked, is it really a good time to buy a house? Yes, it is. Okay. So, first off, just about every single state in this country has a sort of housing program that helps with down payment assistance, whether it is paying down the entire first payment or whether it is paying or helping lower your interest rate. If you are buying new construction, the big thing that pops up for people buying houses is when property tax changes. So what happens a lot, and there's a class action lawsuit out of Florida about this against D.R. Horton, which is the nation's largest home builder. In Florida, D.R. Horton was basing escrow accounts off of the parent parcel. And what that means is when D.R. Horton or one of these builders buys a tract of land, they buy 100 acres. And the property tax for that 100 acres is, let's say $100,000, just to make it nice and simple. Well, they're going to put 400 homes on that 100 acres. So let's do a little bit of math. 400, no, not 400. $100,000 divided by 400 is $250. So they set up your escrow account when you go to buy your home for $250. So you think that your monthly payment is, let's say, $1,500 for principal and interest, $140, and your escrow account. I like to use $2,000 because it's a nice round number. But they set up your first payment for $2,000, and you think, oh, I'm only going to have to pay $2,000. Well, that's easy. I make $7,000 a month. I don't. I wish I did, but I don't. So what ends up happening is property taxes end up going forward, and it's no longer taxed at $250. It's now taxed at the actual value of the home, which means property tax is now $2,000. Well, $2,000 divided by 12 raises your property tax 100. Yeah. So $2,000 is a bit more closer to South Carolina. The big issue in Florida is it's not $2,000. It's $6,000. Well, that raises your escrow account another $500. So now you're like, oh my God, now I have to find another $500, which for some people isn't bad. It's not terrible. If I had to, I might be able to find that. But for a lot of people, they budget and they find out at the beginning of the year that, oh, I have to find another $500, $600, $700 for my monthly payments now. And it's not a one-time thing. It's $500 times 12. So you've got to find $6,000, and all you thought you ever had to pay was $250. So you're fucked. So if you are buying resale, which is the house down the street that's been built for 60 years, if you're buying resale, it's absolutely a great time to buy. Or if you have your escrow account set up on the assumption of what property tax will be, then it's a great time to buy. Because what happens is if you find out what your payment probably will be, if you can afford it right now, buy, because the payments are only going to go down. You can refinance in a year and a half and lower your interest rate probably 2 points, maybe 3 points. If you want to bet on Trump, I'm going to bet on Trump. Dude hasn't lost yet. We're getting ready to acquire Greenland. So that's why I say it's a great time to buy. Plus, if you wait for the market to be better, if you wait for you to have that extra $200 a month, or instead of budgeting, instead of being conscious of how much money you spend, or you wait for the interest rate to fall to 3, then you have to fight against the 30 other people that want that house that also waited. But if you just say, you know what, I'm just gonna cook at home every meal and not spend $700 a month on DoorDash or Uber Eats, you can afford to buy a house. Sorry. I'll tell you what the other great thing about all this is. I actually slept last night. Like I got a full 7.5 hours of sleep. I've not been sleeping well at all. The last week, I think I would go to bed at like 10 p.m., wake up at about 12:30, and then just stay up. And I'd get 4 hours of sleep during the day. But after that, it was terrible. What's up, Spirian? Spirian just woke up. Yeah, but you live out there. You live out in on the like Pacific coast, so you're 3 hours behind me. So 7 a.m. That's pretty good. Where are my bookmarks? Do I have a chat? By the way, guys, I found out what I'm gonna when I get a bunch of money. I found out how I'm gonna make a lot of money. I'm going to buy 200 acres of land, which is going to cost me $3 million. And then I'm going to make this. Let me make sure my mic is right. Yep. I'm going to make this. And I'm going to charge families $300 to come out and do it. This is what we're going to do. This is what I'm going to spend my money on.
Right under our noses the whole time was this clever parenting hack. It'll make sure your kids don't grow up to be weak, woke, and fruity. It's what we do with our boys, and I highly encourage you to do this with your sons. Get out! Get out! Get out of there! Get out! Push! Dig deep. Let's go. Keep it going. Come on. That's right.
War games. The answer is always war games. Wasp, the deed and title fraud you hear about, it's pretty big. It's wire fraud in general. Let's start with wire fraud. So wire fraud a decade ago, $1 billion. Wire fraud during Q1 of last year, $42 billion. So wire fraud is a big deal. When you are doing something that's going to require a wire, if you can go into the building and get the wire instructions, I highly recommend you do that. If you ever receive an email that says these are our wire instructions, call. And you call the very first phone number you ever got about it. Do not call the number on that email. Do not call a number on a sponsored Google tab. Now, if you see if you go to, let's see, your attorney is Smith and Smith. If you go to Smith and Smith and you Google it and you see Smith and Smith and the actual website, you trust that website, you can give them a call. But you always, do not ever trust something you get in an email, especially for wire fraud. Deeds. So when you buy a house, you will never have to pay for your deed. Okay. When you buy a house, part of your closing costs are the recording fees to record your deed and mortgage if you have a loan. In South Carolina, it's 25 or it's It's $15 to record a deed with a $5.10 e-recording fee, because most of our counties have e-record. And a mortgage is $25 with a $5.10 recording fee. So that's 15, 25, $40 to record with $10.20. So your recording fee should be $50.20. Title. The big issue with title fraud is, are you talking about to get title insurance? So if you don't buy title insurance, you're an idiot. You are 100% an idiot. And I don't care if my best friend didn't do it. You are an idiot. You're absolutely fucking retarded. And the reason is because the most expensive title insurance I've ever seen for an owner's policy was $700. So for $700, which is a one-time payment made at closing, you never have to worry about the title of your property. Now, there are exceptions. There are some things the title insurance will not insure over. They won't insure over easements that are recorded because you have to go to the person that owns the easement for that issue. But the big problem that we have here in the Southeast is what's called heirs property. Yeah, Kat, I saw he's speaking. Has he said anything good? Ooh, was it that dumb guy? Hang on. I'm going to rewind this a little bit. Hang on. I'll play a second when I figure it all out. So with title insurance, when you buy title insurance, like I said, in South Carolina, it's a lender's policy is required. You have to pay for that. But for the most part, title insurance is going to cost somewhere between, it also depends on the price of the house, somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000, usually about what title insurance costs. Your owner's policy is probably going to be about a third of that. So for a third of the cost of title insurance, your title is protected. And the big problem we have here in the Southeast is called heirs property, where, 40 years ago, they weren't, no one really paid attention to who was owning what land, was it deeded correctly, all that kind of stuff. So what ends up happening a lot is, these new construction things, they buy, 200 acres and they pay son one because they think son one is the only one that owns it, but they don't know that son two is still alive. So son two shows up every now and then and says, "Hey, Steven, you can't live. This is my property. Blank builder never paid me correctly. So get out of my house," because it's his house. It's his land. What title insurance does is it requires the title company to take that guy to court, whether it's to protect your title, whether it's going to court, hiring attorneys, or paying him off. So I've seen cases where someone spends, $300 on the title insurance and they never have to use it. I've also seen cases where someone spent $300 on their title insurance and it saved them $250,000 in attorney fees. So it's absolutely worth it. Absolutely get it every time. I don't care if it's going to add, another 10 grand to your loan. Do it. It's worth it. I promise. It's not overinflated. It is accurate. Now, I am kind of overinflating it a little bit, and salesmen would overinflate it a little bit because what they're not trying to gouge you. What they're trying to do is just explain how big a deal it is. Because again, yeah, it's going to suck to have to spend another $700. You're about to spend $300,000. But if you spend $700 today, you might not have to spend $400,000 in 4 years. That's worth it to me. That is the greatest return on investment you'll ever have. Market Reality for 2 says, driving from a courthouse. He just made $2,000. Well, congratulations. But yeah, Kat, I've got it playing and it's fixed. Yeah, it was like thank you, Andy. Thank you, Cole Hauser. It happens enough. Like, I can think of 20 instances in the last year and a half that I know of. Yeah, it absolutely happens enough. And I would honestly, I'd argue one time is enough to do it. I want to listen to JD talk about what Kat said here. JD Advance just announced that the ringleader behind the church protest inside Minneapolis was just arrested.
You have a sex offender. We've
Here we go.
arrested a number of
hopefully
sex
this doesn't
in Minneapolis
get me in trouble. It should.
But that person, because they're an illegal alien, we don't know where they live. We don't know their address. If local authorities were cooperating with us, it would be easier to send an ICE agents to the person's house to arrest them, to have local law enforcement protecting our immigration officers. They throw the sex offender in the back of a car, deport that person, throw them in jail, whatever, and then they go home safely to their families. That's not what's happening. What's happening instead is that the Minneapolis authorities are refusing to tell us where that sex offender lives. Why are they protecting sex offenders? That's anybody's guess, but it's crazy. Meanwhile, the local police are being told by the mayor, don't help them. So if there are protests and there are people trying to not just protest, but interfere with what ICE is doing, we don't have the support of local law enforcement to keep the peace. So when I talk about lowering the temperature, those are the two things that we want those local authorities to do. Help us find.
And I would say they want them to do it before they give in on anything. They're not going to defund anything or remove ICE or any of this stuff until they start behaving and doing what they're supposed to do. Wasp, you have a good morning. And again, thank you so much. Cole Hauser, I cannot do it. I'm not licensed in Florida. I can, however, recommend a firm. So give me a call when you are getting close. Your agent will also be able to recommend a firm. I would go with, honestly, whoever is cheapest. It's just what's going to be best. Everyone kind of does the same kind of work. If you have a title concern, go with whoever your agent thinks is the best title firm. But all in all, they're going to do basically the same thing. Market Reality for 100 says, praise the Lord for JD Vance. Yes. 48 is going to be awesome. Let's see what he's saying now.
That was a major announcement from the president, and we're working on that now. And you see this all the time. You see this massive, beautiful new subdivision where every single person there is renting because that subdivision was bought up by a massive institutional investor.
Now, hang on. I'm going to say I have not seen that. Okay, I have not seen BlackRock or Zillow or any of that come in and buy up entire subdivisions. I have seen them come up and buy a street or the cul-de-sac. I've seen individual investors. I don't have a problem with John who, makes an LLC and buys 3 or 4 rental properties. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with Zillow who, and this was part of what they did in 2019 and 2000. They spent probably about $2 to $3 billion buying up whole streets and whole neighborhoods and just renting them out. And banks do this now with short sales. So if you're sitting there and, let's say I go and buy a house and I get behind on my mortgage, my bank, the mortgage company, is what they used to do is they would basically try to sell the house. And so people would come in, and I think I know someone that tried to do this. I won't say who it was, but I know someone. So they went to do a short sale. What's just changed? Is he done speaking? Did he just finish? Is that why it's like freaking out? Or is my internet down? I'll wait. So what banks would do is they would take the short sale. They would then, they find someone to come in, basically assume the mortgage, and just start repaying. But now what banks are doing, especially if it's a resale, if it's not new construction, which would basically be, a year or two old, they are now spending $20 grand to refurbish the house, and then they sell it for another $250,000. So you could have, $150,000 left in your mortgage. You bought a $190,000 house, but your bank comes in because you can't pay your mortgage and kick you out, and then they spend another 20 grand to refurbish it, and then they sell it for $400,000. So that they make a profit. That's the other thing that I've seen a lot. Yes. So the potentially criminal says, did you see the ICE memo claiming the immigration warrants can be used to allow access to homes? So, yes and no. ICE agents are allowed to use administrative warrants, which are basically warrants filled out in the field that say, I have probable cause based off of this, to go after, and Mark Reality, keep me correct if I'm right about this, and basically to detain and enter. And there was a recent Supreme Court decision, like 2 days ago, actually, that says you do not have to have a warrant to enter a house, into a private residence, to administer aid. Basically, if you believe that someone is in physical harm, is likely going to die without you getting into the house, you have the duty to go in and help. So I didn't read what happened in the case, but I'm assuming what happened is they weren't able to get into into a house or something because they didn't have a warrant to go in, and someone died, and that estate probably sued. And it was a 9-0 decision too. So. Cat Chat says he keeps getting offers to buy his house with cash. Entire neighborhood homes are rental now. Yeah, it's really annoying. And again, I don't really have an issue with the dude that forms an LLC and buys 3 or 4 homes. I know. My issue is with the multi-billion-dollar companies that do that. They don't need to be doing that. Jason, okay, look, we're going to talk about this now. You're wrong, and this is why you're wrong, because you are conflating 2 different words. You are thinking legal versus constitutional. The police are not created in the Constitution, which is what Gonzalez says. The police do not have a constitutional requirement to provide aid, but Gonzalez is extremely narrowly decided. So the decision of Gonzalez says, while they do not have a constitutional right under the 14th Amendment. They still have legal rights under or legal requirements under state and federal law, which creates those police departments. So while Castle Rock, which is the Gonzalez case, limited the federal constitutional claims, and I don't know what the Gonzalez or the Ovaldi case argued, but my assumption is that you've still got idiots trying to argue constitutional requirements when there is no constitutional requirement, because the Constitution only covers what the Constitution covers. The Constitution, if it's not created in the Constitution, you don't have a constitutional right to it. Most police departments are not created in the Constitution. So there's state law that says you have to provide aid. You've got requirements to act reasonably to protect public safety and all that kind of stuff. Negligence laws that hold officers even further accountable than the average person. But there's no constitutional requirement. And that's why all of this assumption on those statements is not correct. It's factually inaccurate. What's up, the Beast? But please do me a favor, Jason. We'll discuss that at a further date. I'll read the cases. I'll bring the case law to you. Don't spam the chat about it. Just do me that favor, please. Yeah, okay. I need to find this JD Vance thing about what he said. I would assume that someone has put it on Twitter by now, wouldn't y'all? All right, so from Pam Bondi an hour ago. So far we have arrested Nakima Levy Armstrong. Is that the kind of fat black woman who allegedly played a key role in organizing the coordinated attack on City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota? Let's see. It is the okay. Another update. A second arrest has been made in my direction. Chantel Louisa Allen has been taken into custody. Who are these people? That's the only thing I wish they would do. I'd love to see the perp walks of them. Call, I'm not going to highlight it, but I definitely do not disagree. Let's see. Second guy. I've only got 2 women on my list that have been arrested. Oh, this is nice. Y'all remember Ted Leo, something like that? We talked about him 5 or 6 months ago, I think. He was attempting to become the new leader of the Democratic Party. He claims that requiring proof of citizenship in elections would hurt Republicans more than it would Democrats. You want to fucking bet? See, I'm trying to see if there's. I want the video from, because I'll bet you all of that was timed. Hey, Kat, when did you find out, or when did you hear JD Vance saying that these people were arrested? Was it like an hour ago, or was it just like 20 minutes ago? There will be a legal challenge as Republicans attempt to deny a corpse's right to vote. Okay. So Pam had already a little disappointed. So Pam Bondi had already tweeted about it, but it would have been really funny if they had like timed all of that so that everyone was announcing it all at the same time. Damn, Jason, negative 45 degrees. How far, like, Jason, so tomorrow, how long can you go outside before, like, your body starts shutting down with that? I mean, that is fucking freezing. $5 minutes. So you don't go outside at all then. That's, oh my God. I've always had to show my ID. I think the only thing that I didn't, I think there was a time that, so the very first election I voted in, what would that have been? 14? Yeah, I think I was able to show my voter registration, which is not a photo ID. I think I showed that. Yeah. No, actually, you know what? I showed my driver's license. The address was wrong on my driver's license. So I showed my voter registration card with my current address, and that's why I was allowed to vote. um an hour ago. So yeah, it was off by about half an hour. Yeah, that's so. Is it even worth dripping your faucets when it gets that cold? Here, if you don't have a voter card, you have to have a gas or water bill. Let's speak American here. With your name and address with your voter ID or with your photo ID. Yeah. I mean, that could work. And John Baker says the worst he ever experienced was negative 68. That is insane. Oh yeah, they were, because she's there, isn't she? She's there in or no, she probably texted him. So Governor Walz is what? Oh my God. So Governor Walz decided to play the mental patient. So here he is with the protection of his fence. Gee, they just don't get it, do they? So here he is talking about I think him serving with Rubio, they cut off the very beginning, so I don't know if he's saying I served with Rubio or something else. Let's see. What is his political history? Was he a senator? Remember the House. From 17 to 19. Huh.
Served on the China Commission in Congress, ironically enough, as co-chair with Marco Rubio.
Hang on one second. China Commission, U.S. Congress. So he says he served with Marco Rubio. He did actually serve with Marco Rubio. Okay, I was kind of hoping to catch him in a lie.
The China Commission in Congress, ironically enough, as co-chair with Marco Rubio.
Well, that's actually a lie. Tim Walsh was never the co-chair of that committee. He was on the committee as the vice-ranking member, but he was never the co-chair.
We used to bring in Chinese political prisoners, and we would ask them, when we speak up and call out your government, is it bad? And they said, well, in the short run, it's bad because they torture us. But if you don't speak up, they will torture us and forget about us. And the idea is right now is we have to be speaking.
So what he's doing right there is, once again, he's conflating a bunch of issues and trying to inflate his base into thinking that the current government is as bad as China that tortures people. Like, that is just wild. He's an idiot. So, a little bit of real cool news. Tucson, that's Arizona, right? Tucson, Arizona's Pride Corporation, the Tucson Pride's board of directors announced the difficult decision to close Tucson Pride as an organization, therefore canceling Tucson Pride Festival of this year. A little bit of wins, a little bit of wins. So if anyone, so we've all heard obviously seen the stuff coming out of Minnesota. Like, that's been very evident. And we found out, or I found out at least, that apparently there's a bunch of fraud and shit going on in Maine as well. Now, I've been to Maine. I went to Maine in March of 2018 with a buddy of mine. We went up there and had we actually went up between, well, there were two nor'easters, and then we were like, we're going to go up these 4 days, and then we'll beat the next nor'easter. Well, that third nor'easter showed up 3 days early. We basically were snowed in. We got Domino's and went down to like their Food Lion thing and got some cheap ass food and just sat in the hotel for 2 days. We watched. It's the very first time that I watched My 600-Pound Life, and holy shit, you want to talk about mental problems? Oh my god! But I didn't know that Maine had a issue with Somalians as well. Look at that. Market Reality becomes a member. What's up, man? So Maine is having an issue with their in Lewiston. Is that where it is? Yeah. So Lewiston, there's this guy up there named Kernan Majarius Collins. Okay. Now, what do y'all think Kernan Majarius Collins looks like? Okay, we're not going to highlight anyone's answer, but I'm curious what y'all think. Damn. Yeah. Andy, yeah, we're in Lewiston. So that's what we're talking about right now. So this is what he looks like. That's him right there. Not what I expected. Let's all be honest with that name. So this guy, a couple of years ago, I think about 6 years ago, was apparently caught harassing someone else running for the same seat he was, threatening to like attack him, threatening to send people to hurt him. And I don't know how they get put up for these committees. I would assume you run city council, you run, you win, you get the seat. But what I'm seeing based off of the caption, Lewiston rejects Kiernan Majerus Collins for the second time in a matter of weeks, tells me that they told him no last week as well. So I don't know if he's just trying to get a job there or what. But this is a what is this? This is a town council meeting for Lewiston, where people are getting up, they're testifying against this guy. He constantly says, I don't know what they're talking about. No, this is true. They're liars. And then apparently his organization has paid a bunch of these Somalians $200 to show up in support of him. That's who. Oh, there's my alarm to wake up. That's who these people are behind him. In fact, there's another video of this, of this woman, I think, going up to speak. And she's got this woman in the blue right here is like a translator. And she's basically trying to say, I don't know what am I supposed to say about this? Like, help me. And that, I mean, no. If you're going to testify before city council, it needs to be your opinion. Don't you dare go up there and say what are they or what am I supposed to say? And there's another video for that unfortunately I don't have. But this is just insane. Like I didn't know this was a problem up there. Yeah, it's exactly coaching on the stand. Ooh. Kohlhauser. Since you're in here. And since you're talking about the Rolling Thunder. Did you ever have? I'm trying to find it real quick. Yeah, here we go. Did you ever have the headquarters? So there were two. So I got the, let's see. No, I don't think it was that one. No, it might have been. Hang on, I'm totally off kilter here. So I got one of the mobile bases. My brother got the like base, but not the like 1980 ones. Mine, I think I got mine in like 2001. So whichever ones those were. $1992. Let me see if that's what it was. No, the one my brother got was probably early 2000s. But I can't find a mobile fortress that isn't the 1987 one. So I'll shoot you pictures. It's absolutely ridiculous. And Spirian, that maybe one of my hopes for this channel in the future, I don't know when, is to do like a sort of trial night court type thing where, you know, maybe we do some sort of night court where, you know, I'm the judge. We have a prosecution and a defense. I'd love to work with other content creators. Like, I think that'd be pretty fun. But that's a little ways away. I feel like I need to grow the channel more before I can call like Sevi and Jay and other people and be like, hey, you want to do this? Let's see. So they're planning an economic blackout in Minnesota on Friday. Isn't Friday supposed to be day one of that terrible storm? So it's supposed to be -11 in Minnesota on Friday. I don't think your little dumb thing is going to, I mean, it's going to be very successful because everyone's going to be inside because their cars won't even start. I don't know if that actually happens, but so this is and obviously we already know what she's going to look like. And I love that she's even below a temperature bank sign that says 2 degrees. John, you have a great day. Have a good time at work, and hopefully it's a nice, easy day for you.
It's getting pretty cold here in Minnesota and very icy. So we're going to be closed Friday the 23rd in support of the economic blackout here in Minnesota. We understand we're lucky as a small business to be able to close for a day, and not everybody can afford to do that. What really sucks is how a lot of small businesses have been forced to close because of the safety of their employees. In solidarity, we'll be closed Friday the 23rd.
Can I just say, if you're gonna do something like this, if you're gonna make some video about liberal bullshit, don't walk down the middle of the road. It's really dangerous to walk down the middle of the road whether it's 2 degrees or 80 degrees, whether there's people on the road, whether there aren't. Don't walk down the middle of the road. Don't be a fucking idiot. The other thing that I really like is listen to this.
Do that. What really sucks is how a lot of small businesses have been forced to close because of the safety of their employees.
Why are there small businesses anywhere in the continental anywhere within the borders of the United States, whether they are a territory like Guam or whether they are a sanctioned state like California? Why is there anywhere that a small business must close their doors to protect workers from immigration and customs enforcement? If your business cannot survive an ICE raid, you don't deserve to have a business. Your business should not exist because what you're doing is you are hiring illegal immigrants instead of American citizens. What you're doing is profiteering. You know what? Let me pull out my liberal fucking lexicon. What you're doing is profiteering off of slave labor. Oh, isn't that what all the white people were supposed to do in the 1820s? Isn't that what we've been being told and yelled about for reparations? That we're just profiteers off of slave labor. That's what they're fucking doing. Sorry, did a little bit of rant there. Let me get off my soapbox.
In solidarity, we'll be closed Friday the 23rd to attend the ICE Out March up in Minneapolis at 2 p.m.
It's going to be -11. At 2 p.m. It could be -13. There's no way in hell there are people at that march. I don't care where you're from. I don't care if Huskies don't go outside at -11. They might. I'm just trying to make a point.
But don't worry if you forget we're closed and still show up. We'll have free coffee out here on Friday morning.
Hang on.
But don't worry if you forget we're closed and still show up.
The cup overflows. Look at this. Look right here, okay?
Out March up in Minneapolis at 2 p.m. But don't worry if you forget we're closed and still show up.
Overflows.
We'll have free coffee out here on Friday morning.
Oh my God. You can't make this up. Ooh, this was hilarious. So apparently there's a sit-in going on in the Texas Capitol. Okay?
I am on day 20.
Ooh, Wicked Virtue for 5 says, you're monetized. Let's go. Yes, we are. Thank you so much. And Wicked, thank you so much for all the help in rating and all that stuff. It has been a lot easier because of friends like you and Jay. So they're on day 24 of this sit-in, okay?
4 of my sit-in at the Austin, Texas Capitol. I'm sitting until Donald Trump is impeached, convicted, and removed. Today we had quite an event.
So, big old soy boy. Big soy boy. Now, y'all might make fun of me here. I thought this person here, I wasn't looking for an Adam's apple or anything. I saw this person and I thought, oh, they got some pregnant woman there. Because it just kind of looks like, just a little bit of a bump here.
Here in the Capitol Rotunda. So, why don't you tell me?
So now he's getting ready to ask Sammy to tell them about something.
Reaffirm to us that, no, we're not crazy. It really is the situation that's exceptional. So, Sammy, why don't you tell me a little bit about how it went?
I think it...
Can we do that again?
Situation that's exceptional. So, Sammy, why don't you tell me a little bit about how it went?
I think it went...
Yes, that's a dude. Now, I'm very happy not to be caught like Az. Oh, I read that wrong. I read that wrong. Jell comes in and drops another 5 gifted memberships over here at the King's Court, and followed up by Mark of Reality with another 5. Guys, we don't have emojis yet, but there are gavels in the on your phones. So if you find the gavel emoji, let's see those. Thank you all. We're not going to listen to any more of this. It's just more communist bullshit. But I just remember I was watching this morning thinking, oh, this will be kind of funny. We'll make fun of this dude, real, sitting there, standing there next to some woman. And then he spoke, and I was like, oh, that's a dude. Marianne says, why aren't the memberships showing in the chat? What you mean, Willis? Oh, they're not. I don't know. Okay, let's see if I can do a little bit of triage. Yeah, Jell, that might be it. It might take a day for everything to catch up. Let's see. Earn. Che is blocking them. Let's see. I don't know. That's weird because I can see, because Spider and Mark Reality became members earlier, and I see them on the list. But yeah, I don't see. That's so weird. I'm gonna have to figure that out. I've never seen that. YouTube's probably gonna kick it back to all of y'all. Oh well. Maybe. I don't know. Oh well, I'll figure it out later. That's weird. Jell might be right. It's probably just like a day one weird thing. Yeah, that guy is nuts. But what's really funny, I saw that, and then I saw this. And this is a commercial from, I think it's like 1950. It's entitled "How to Spot a Communist."
Recognizing a communist, physical appearance counts for nothing. If he openly
It did. It definitely does now.
Declares himself to be a communist, we take his word for it. If a person consistently reads and advocates the views expressed in a communist publication, he may be a communist. If a person supports organizations which reflect communist teachings, or organizations labeled communist by the Department of Justice, she may be a communist. If a person defends the activities of communist nations while consistently attacking the domestic and foreign policy of the United States, she may be a communist. If a person does all these things over a period of time, he must be a communist. But there are other communists who don't show their real faces, who work more silently. Recognizing a communist, physical appearance.
Gee, sounds like something. Crap. Hang on. Why did they change that? I don't like X chat. I think that's kind of dumb. Okay, so I forgot who brought up earlier this May 12th memo about ICE being able to enter homes without warrant. Do we actually have the memo? Let's see. I'm looking through it now. There's a AP article about it. But they haven't. I mean, they haven't even give me the memo. If you're in possession of the memo, print the memo. Oh, here we go. Okay, this is going to be great for the channel. So it's from a whistleblower disclosure. So all I'm going to say about whistleblowers is with the way that some of them have been working in the last 5-6 years, I'm hesitant to 100% trust any sort of whistleblower. Whistleblower A represents 2 anonymous United States government officials disclosing a secretive and seemingly unconstitutional policy directive. This policy directive authorizes ICE agents to enter homes and residences without consent in order to conduct arrests and removals without a warrant issued by a federal judge. Okay, but give me Exhibit 1. I don't care about what whistleblower aid says. I want to see the memo. Here we go. Exhibit 1. On January 20th, 2025, President Donald J. Trump issued Executive Order 14159, protecting the American people against invasion, directing the Secretary of Homeland Security to ensure the successful enforcement of final orders of removal. Essential to the removal of aliens subject to final orders of removal is the ability to locate and arrest them. To this end, certain supervisory immigration officers within both enforcement and removal operations and Homeland Security investigations are authorized to issue an administrative warrant for the arrest of an alien and a final order of removal. All U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement special agents and deportation officers are authorized to execute these forms. Although the U.S. Department of Homeland Security has not historically relied on administrative warrants alone to arrest aliens subject to final orders of removal in their place of residence, the DHS Office of the General Counsel has recently determined that the U.S. Constitution, the Immigration and Nationality Act, and the immigration regulations do not prohibit relying on administrative warrants for this purpose. That is true. Accordingly, in light of this legal determination, ICE immigration officers may arrest and detain aliens subject to a final order of removal issued by an immigration judge, the Board of Immigration Appeals, or a U.S. District Court order, or magistrate judge in their place of residence. ICE immigration officers should consider all available enforcement mechanisms, including the use of a Form 1 or Form I-205 as an administration warrant, to arrest an alien in their place of residence to achieve the requirements of Executive Order 14159 in accordance with applicable law and policies. This guidance informs the use of Forms I-205 and provides to ICE law enforcement personnel a reminder of the general limitations and exceptions that may apply when effectuating something arrests in an alien's residence. Nothing. I mean, I'll keep going through this, but no, I didn't hear anything that was wrong there. What they're saying is you do not need a judicial warrant to enter an illegal's residence to arrest them. You can use an administrative warrant, but an administrative warrant still requires what's it called? Someone said earlier. Hang on. Damn, where was this? Probable cause. That's what it is. It's still to issue an administrative warrant, you still are required to have probable cause. Your probable cause is the level of whatever needed to enter someone's house anyway. If a cop comes to my front door right now and sees some illegal activity or smells pot or hears a baby, screaming bloody murder more than just, crying, hears someone going, help, help, he's trying to kill me. They have probable cause to enter my house. Nothing that this memo says so far is shocking. So this is the AP blowing something up that they're saying says something it doesn't say. Now, let's see what the guidelines say. ICE law enforcement officers receive extensive training on the legal and procedural requirements, yada, yada, yada. Prior to entering a residence, to conduct an administrative immigration arrest pursuant to the administrative warrant, officers and agents must ensure the administrative warrant is properly completed and is supported by a final order of removal issued by an immigration judge, the BIA, a U.S. District Court, or a magistrate judge. This is essential because the order establishes probable cause. Officers and agents must also have reason to believe that the subject alien resides at and is currently located in the address where the administrative warrant is to be served. Again, none of this is bad. Before entering a residence pursuant to the administrative warrant, ICE officers and agents must knock and announce. In announcing, officers and agents must state their identity and purpose. Following announcement, officers and agents must allow those inside the residence a reasonable chance to act lawfully, meaning they are saying no knock warrants, and you can't do the I forget what it's called, it's like a quick knock where you basically just do the knock and bang the door down. Should the alien refuse amends, ICE officers and agents should use only a necessary and reasonable amount of force to enter the alien's residence. Following proper notification of the officer or agent's authority and intent to enter, ICE officers and agents must not effectuate an arrest in a third-party residence without consent. That's what, if anyone saw the video from like a week ago, the woman on the phone with I'm assuming an attorney in front of hers, freaking out about whether she had to let ice in her house. That's what that is. They're saying that they're telling these ICE agents, you don't have the right to go into the neighbor's house when the illegal flees to the neighbor's house. You only have a right to enter the illegal's house. To be clear, a administrative warrant is not a search warrant and should only be used to enter the residence of the subject alien to conduct an administrative immigration arrest. Once inside the residence, officers and agents must conduct a limited search of the immediate area to ensure officer safety, basically a Terry stop. Any evidence of a crime observed where the immigration nature is immediately apparent may be incriminating nature, may be seized under the plain view doctrine. So yeah, none of this. Mark, what do you think? I don't think there's anything wrong in this memo. It says that a civil warrant, not a criminal warrant, like an administrative warrant. It's, I mean, yeah, I'm not, I don't know what this is. Explanation, demonstration. This is just telling them what Form I-205 is and how they comply with federal law. Yeah. Again, none of this blows my mind at all. None of it is unconstitutional. None of it is anything that the media is saying it is. And I don't know why I'm shocked at it at all. I'm going to start doing this meal prep, guys. This is going to be the best meal prep in the world. That's so much tiramisu. Man, I hope that was good. It would suck if you made that much tiramisu and it ended up being bad. Cool. Well, I think we're pretty much done for the day, guys. I'm going to leave a couple of the stuff that I was going to talk about today for tomorrow. I think it'll be more interesting. I'm just scrolling through my bookmarks real quick to see if there's anything I want to talk about real quick. Yeah, that's going to be it. Guys, first off, thank you for all the love today, all the memberships, all the super chats. I am beyond grateful. Again, thank you all for all of the prayers. I am not I'm speechless. I am not dissuaded from the idea that this is everything that's happened in the last 21 days. It was God's plan. There is zero chance any of this happens without him. And I will forever be grateful for the thoughts, the prayers, the likes, the love, everything. I hope you all have a great day. And for the first time ever over here on the King's Court, we are going to raid somebody. Assuming I can. Yes, redirect. Wicked's not live for another hour and 20. So we're going to raid Geeks and Gamers, because they definitely need it. Y'all have a great day. Do not go quietly into the good night. Everything will get better. Do not black pill. It is not worth it. The depression sucks. There is good in this world, and it is worth fighting for.